Hey everyone, welcome to Wealth Redefined. I'm your host, Michael Reynolds, certified financial planner and owner of Elevation Financial. We're on the web at elevationfinancial.com. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to do this checklist style today, a checklist of documents for filing your 2024 tax return. So it's tax season. Tax season is approaching. It's basically here. If you stay organized, that can save you some time, some stress, and maybe even some money. So we're going to talk through how to make your 2024 tax filing a little bit easier with a checklist of documents you might need depending on your income sources, your deductions, tax credits, etc. And this is meant to be a list of the most common things needed for taxes. It's not an exhaustive list. So if you have a more complex situation, you might have documents not listed here. This is kind of more of a common checklist that covers a lot of the basis for many people. All right, so let's get started with income documentation. Number one, income. You want to make sure you have all the records of all of your income sources, including things like wages. So if you have a W-2 job, you want your W-2 form for any and all jobs you've held in 2024. You want to also have anything from self-employment income. So things like Form 1099 NEC or MISC or 1099K, record of all income and expenses. So any kind of self-employment income, you want records of that, whether it comes from 1099 or from your own business. Also, investment forms. These come also in the form of 1099s, things like 1099B, 1099 Div, 1099 Int, or any consolidated. Sometimes they'd be consolidated into one 1099 form. So they might be consolidated or they might be individualized. So look for those 1099 investment and interest forms. Retirement income. If you've done any distributions, 1099Rs might be distributed. SSA 1099s, RRB 1099s for Social Security or even railroad benefits. Equity comp. There's lots of different forms for equity comp, things like 3921, 3922 for stock options or awards. Be sure you track those. Any real estate sales, 1099S or documents of purchase or details of the sale. And any other income. For example, if you have an alimony settlement before 2019, that needs to be listed. So other income that might not be listed here, you want to be sure you track documents for all income. All right. Number two, deduction records. You want to maximize your tax savings by getting those deductions. So things like retirement contributions, records of contributions to 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, HSAs, 529 plans. Some of them have deductions, some don't, but you want to track them all. Charitable contributions, documentation of cash, property, or stock donations, which includes the valuation details. Medical expenses, receipts and records of expenses exceeding 7.5% of your AGI. You want to document that as well. State and local taxes, proof of property income, sales taxes paid, subject to the $10,000 state and local tax limit. Mortgage interest, Form 1098 for details about mortgage, home equity loans, etc. Student loan interest, Form 1098E for interest paid on qualified student loans. And any other deductible expenses that go on IRS Schedule 1. Again, this also could include things like alimony paid for agreements entered into before the year 2019. After 2019, there's no deduction or tax there, but before 2019, alimony does count in your taxes. All right, number three, credit documentation. You want to be sure you get all of the applicable tax credits that you could qualify for. Things like education expenses, Form 1098T, 1099Q, receipts for tuition, books, and supplies, things like that. Dependent care. You want to keep your records of child care or adoption expenses in Form 8332 for custody agreements. Energy efficient improvements, receipts for electric vehicles or energy efficient home upgrades. And health insurance, Form 1098A if purchased through the marketplace, and details of any premium tax credits as well. All right, next, for business owners or those with rental property. If you own a business or have a rental property, you're likely going to have a business tax return. Things like Form 1120S if you're an S Corp or 1065. If applicable, you want to have those done before your personal tax returns because those will sometimes kick off K1s that then go in your tax return. If you have a solo 401k, if the balance of your solo 401k exceeded $250,000 by year end, you'll need to file Form 5500EZ by July 31st, 2025. Rental property. If you have a rental property, you want records of rental income, expenses, depreciation, and usage time. Also, some miscellaneous stuff. Don't overlook these things. Gift tax reporting. If you gave a gift exceeding $18,000 per recipient in 2024, you want to have Form 709 completed with your tax return. Doesn't mean you're necessarily going to pay gift tax. It just means you have to report it if it's over that exclusion amount. Also, if you have qualified charitable distributions, QCDs, make sure those are excluded from taxable income. If you made estimated tax payments, this is very common for business owners. You want to have proof of estimated tax payments made throughout the year, so those can be accounted for when filing your taxes. And then finally, any state-specific issues. So if you have any specific issues related to your state, make sure you track documentation for those things as well. So a few tips for making tax season successful. You want to start early. Avoid the last-minute rush by getting documents set up now. Use a checklist like this one. And I'll give you more details on how to get this as a downloadable checklist, but use a checklist. Stay organized. Check things off as you collect them. Also, if your situation is a little more complex or you feel uncomfortable filing your own taxes, consult a tax professional. That can really help you make sure tax filing is easier, lower stress, and more accurate. So as mentioned, this is an audio version of the checklist, not always the most convenient format for seeing stuff as a checklist. So as always, there is a blog post version of this podcast episode. So if you go to this episode, which is episode 246 on my website, there will be a link to the article version of this, which has a downloadable checklist. It's a PDF. You can click on it. It's 2 pages. And it's a nice flowchart version of this as a PDF. It's got a checklist, all these items, a little more detail on some of them. So it's something you can print and just check off if you want to and use that as your checklist. So that's a PDF, free download, no email required. It is open for everybody. So with that checklist in hand, or this one, or whatever format you want to use, this should help you get ready for filing 2024 taxes with confidence. You want to make sure you get everything accounted for and get it done properly. All right. I hope that is helpful. And as always, if you have questions, you're welcome to reach out anytime. You can reach me on my website, which is elevationfinancial.com. And you can always send me a message there or find me on social media. Or if you want to consider becoming a client, you're welcome to book a free consultation. There's a calendar link on my website. It says schedule a consultation. You can pick your time online, book it, send you a calendar invite right away, all easy peasy. So feel free to use that if you want to learn more. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining me today. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.